Together for Brian Donovan, everybody.
Thank you so much. How am I feeling? You feeling okay? I gotta let you know a little secret. The first time I ever did this is the second time I've ever done this. The first time was about 3 years ago upstairs, and Julie introduced me as a history teacher. Boy, there's nothing that will get a crowd fired up. And saying a history teacher's going to talk to you. Anyway, I do want to thank Julie for giving me another opportunity to do this, because I said I'd never do it again, and here I am. So, first of all, just to start off, because I know I'm going first, are there any vegans in the crowd? No? Okay. Yeah, I wanted to get that out of the way, just in case they felt like it was necessary to announce that to everybody. They'll do that. They'll just tell you they're a vegan no matter what's going on. At a party, and you'd be like, oh my goodness, those wildfires in California. They'll say, oh, well, you know, I'm a vegan. You don't even have to be talking about food, really. I'm not good at the microphone. You don't even have to be talking about food. You'd be like, boy, do you think the Red Sox are going to be better this year? Well, you know, as a vegan. But you know, no, I don't have a problem. I have a lot of respect for that, because that's nothing that I could really manage myself. But, and you know, if I do run into one at a party, I don't want them to feel left out, because that can be hard, you know, there's your herbs, and you have to be sure what you can eat and stuff. So, sometimes I'll be like, oh, do you want to get something at the, to eat? And they're like, actually, no, I'm a vegan. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Is there something about me that makes you think I know. I have mirrors in my house. I'm not a vampire. I know what I look like. But, you know, on the other hand, I am short and balding, so I get that going for me. But the hardest thing about being overweight is that people can be really judgmental about you and what you eat all the time. And I kind of internalize that and get really kind of defensive. So I'm at the grocery store, and I always feel like everybody's looking at my cart going, and it happens all the time, too, even when you're not even buying anything for yourself. Years ago, I was getting McDonald's for my kids, I swear to God, for my kids. And ran into a cousin, I'm like, hey, I'm going to get something for the kids, do you want anything? And he's like, yeah, can you get me a large iced coffee? And at the time, I don't know if they still have this, but they had like flavor shots that were sweetened. So he's like, yeah, and I want like Irish cream and caramel. I'm looking at him like, okay, do you want like cream with that? He's like, cream and sugar. I'm like, so you want two sweetened flavors, cream and sugar? And I've got to go to McDonald's now and ask for it. Like, yeah. And I know that they're going to be like, you know why you're fat, right? And so I go to the McDonald's, the one in Wakefield, you know, they got that booth out there, it's like a gatehouse. They have to be let in. And I go there, and so I ask for this, you know, cup of liquid sugar, and she goes, cream? I said, well, cream and sugar. And this little Latino woman in the booth, she's like, no sugar. I'm like, yes, sugar. No sugar. Yes, sugar. I mean, I had to convince her to let me have sugar in this drink. I mean, I was so relieved when she finally said yes. You think I was asking for sex. But folks, you know, like, when the people at McDonald's are questioning your food choice, I played a song on my mother, really. She was one of those, I know that sounds so Freudian, but she was one of those, you know, clean your plate, you know, eat all your food. There's people starving in some way. And she would always say, like, India, and I didn't even understand, but are people really starving in India? There's probably some woman in Calcutta going, eat, there's children starving in Detroit. But she would always do that, and so then I'd have to clean my plate. I never understood how me eating more food was going to help world hunger. And shouldn't we be saving some of it for that? But you know, I follow rules, and so I went along and I cleaned my plate and all of that. But it kind of infected my thinking about everything. Like, there was stuff like I couldn't even enjoy. Like, there's some folks here about my age, maybe a little old. Remember Live Aid, the concert for Ethiopia in London? watching it with my friends and all, like, this is awesome, look at all those people at Wembley Stadium. And I'm thinking, you know, if all those people just cleaned their plate, we wouldn't have this problem. I'm watching the Miss America pageant. Well, I'd like to help the children and solve world hunger. And I'm like, you lying bitch. You don't give a shit about hungry children. Look how skinny she is. But not me. I picked up the mantle and I carried it. And I am a warrior against world hunger. And I feel like I deserve some recognition. Don't you think I should? So my plan is to get on a plane, assuming you can get on a plane, and get on a plane and fly somewhere where there is a hunger bomb and just get off the plane and stand there. You're welcome. I did this for you. Thank you very much. It's going to be a great show. Let's have a good time.
All right, everybody, our next comedian, you may recognize as he is known as the Honda Guy, has been in many Honda car commercials, was also named Boston's #1 improv comedian. Put your hands together, everybody, for Will Newman.
Thank you, Nick. Let's hear it for our DJ Nick, everybody. Let's hear it for Brian Bellman. It's great to see you guys, man. I'm excited to be here. It's been a while, Nick, since those Honda commercials, dude. I was like, yeah, those were good times. That was before COVID. Thanks for reminding me of great gigs I used to have, Nick. Appreciate it. But what I've always really wanted was to be at the Knights of Columbus in Melrose, Massachusetts. That's what it is, really. My dream came true right here tonight. So. I'm just happy to be out. I could be anywhere right now. I'm just happy to be out because we have a 5-month-old baby that we gave birth to ourselves. Thank you. Yeah. I say we, but it was my wife. She did it all, really. I was there, I witnessed it. I was right, she really did. I give it up for every woman who's had a kid. It looked so bad. That looked rough, brutal, really. I texted my mom after, actually. I was like, Mom, I get it. I get it now. I understand why you've been so upset my entire life. I was upsetting, I'm upset. That's how we met, no wonder you got problems with me, I get it. It's great though. There's a lot of, we did it at Brigham and Women's Hospital, great hospital, one of the best in the world, they say. But it's a little disappointed with parts of the process, you know? First of all, it was not like the movies. I thought it was gonna be like the movies where I'd be like in a waiting room with all my buddies like smoking cigarettes and giving shots. And some guy would come back and say, "Oh," and I'd be like, "Oh, sweet, let's go," you know? It wasn't like that at all. They were like, "Grab a leg," and I was like, "Ugh." I was just anxious, I was in the front row, and I was like, what's going on? Courtside? And it was just a lot, you know? And there's like so much equipment in that room. There's so much medical equipment, and none of it is getting used. You know, everything's just fingers and witchcraft, you know? Like we were there for a while, but my wife got the epidural, everything started to settle in, and then this guy comes in. And he just walks in, and the room sticks like 3 fingers in your wife's vagina, right in front of you, you know? Didn't even ask me. I was like, hello? Anyone check this guy's ID or anything? What is this? And everyone looks at me like, well, you idiot, that's the doctor. I was like, oh shit, like, no tools? There's not a tool for this. And they go, no, I go, what's he checking? And he goes, dilation. And he says it like that. I was like, don't you talk to me while you're doing that. And he just goes 6 centimeters and leaves. It's like a ghost, just disappears. And I was like, what happened there? And it was 6 centimeters, that's her dilation. When it's 10 centimeters, then it's time. to have a baby. So then after a while, you're like, looks like 10. Can we pinch Dr. Fingerman? Can we get Dr. Sausage Fingers back in here? I think it's time. You're looking for him. It's a crazy part of it. I was also a little, we took a lot of classes to have a baby too. Prenatal classes, they're called. We took lactation classes, all kinds of things, birthing. And I noticed in these classes, they never would call me father. They would call my wife mother. They would call the baby baby. But they would always call me the support person. In every class. We took a lot of classes. And by like the third one, I was kind of like, why do you call me support person every time? They were like, it's just the proper term, you know, there's not all families look the same, okay? We're not trying to offend anybody, so stop being such a white asshole about it. Yeah. And I'm like, I get it, you know, just take it. It's 2025, I'm used to it, just leave me Xbox and weed, that's all I really I was like, why not? I am a father, who cares, right? So, kept going to these classes, just took it. I didn't take my medicine, I don't care, you know? Then we went to infant CPR, okay? Yeah, 6 couples and a bunch of mannequin babies. We're the only ones that show up. Out of 6 couples, we're the only ones. Bad news for babies, no one gives a shit. We'll skip that one. But I see an opportunity for myself, you know? I'm like, hey, we're the only couple here, right? So like, as soon as she says it for the first time, she's like, make sure the day before you go to the hospital that your support person has your bag ready. And I was like, hey, no one else is here, so maybe just for today, I can be called a father, you know? Because, you know, I did that, and that is my wife, and I did pay for this class, so let's go with that today. Why not? You know? Not all families look the same. Sometimes the father's not in the picture, sometimes it's the same-sex couple, and I was like, I totally fucking get that. But maybe just for today, because there's no one here to offend. You can call me Dad. She goes, let's take a 5-minute break. That's tough when no one else is in the class. You know, my wife just looks at me and goes, go hit your vape in the parking lot. So I go out to the parking lot. I have like an angry vape to myself. And then I come back in. And my wife's a physical therapist, so she's in healthcare, and I hear her and the nurse like chit-chatting, waiting for me, and I hear the nurse say, what do you think the baby's first words are gonna be? And I was like, probably support person at this point. I was like, that's where I am. I can't wait for my first support person day. You know, maybe I'll get breakfast in bed. They're like, here you go, support person. It's a Nutri-Rain bar. Anyway, it is all good though. What else? I don't know. You know, I'm also a support person in other ways. I am a comedian, but I have a small side hustle. 1 day a week, I'm an iPhone repairman for an elderly couple. I call my parents. That's my job. That's what it comes down to. And the laughter is people go like, oh, I have one too. I gave birth to an iPhone repairman myself, so maybe you are the iPhone repairman, because that's what it is. I have to fix every single Sunday. You know, and my mom used to be nice about it. She used to really be nice. Oh my God, there's something wrong with my phone. I'm sorry, could you fix it? You know? I'd be like, Mom, of course, you know. But now it's like every weekend, and now she's not nice about it. Now she just kind of like throws it at me. She's like, my Facebook's messed up. Can you bring it back? Just my Facebook. I don't even need the whole phone. Just my Facebook. This isn't that's doing some shit I want to say. So the last time she did it, I was kind of like, oh, Jesus, you know what I mean? I was like, come on. Like, I was kind of complaining about it. She goes, what? You can't fix my phone? I taught you how to read. I taught you how to read and you can't fix my phone? I was like, Mom, that's true. You did teach me how to read, but I remembered how to read. I don't come over every weekend like, teach me how to read again, Mom? I forgot that shit since last Sunday. Good night, moon, I don't get it anymore. Everyone in my family now, the older people, they're taking edibles like crazy, man. Yeah, and there's a couple in this room right now. Just be careful, you know, it's all. Because just like with the phones and everything else, I'm the one who gets the phone call because I smoked weed in high school. You know, showed up to a few cookouts smelling like weed, and now I'm the expert. I get phone calls every weekend. I'll get one tonight, Saturday night. One of my aunts will call me. It's always, they leave me voicemails. So I was like, Billy, it's your godmother. Diane. How many gummy bears should I take for a Rod Stewart DVD? I took 16. I'm pretty scared. I can feel my hair growing. I can see my feelings, so just call me back. It's your godmother. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, man. Something about my aunt, something about boomers. They don't touch weed for 20 years, and then it's like, okay, 1,000 milligrams? That sounds good. Let's do it. Let's see what type of panic disorder we got. I used to not go to I go to the dispensaries now, but I used to not go. You got a dispensary? Are you a dispensary guy? No. You are weed, and I knew it. I knew I liked you. Yeah, I used to not though. I was one of those people. I fought it. I stuck with the guy from high school that I maintained a friendship with. Decades long, you know. He was okay. I didn't love him that much, but I was gonna meet him every weekend at AutoZone on his break, you know. Hop in his car. Always tells me like a story about a lizard. You know, he's like it's like about a lizard he wants. You know, he's like, man, I have iguana money, but what I want is like a Komodo dragon. And I was like, you're gonna get there, Dante. You're gonna get there. Just keep saving. And he was, you know, those were good times, but now it's a dispensary. I am happy the dispensaries are there, though, because I remember when Blockbuster Video closed, I was like, where are all these people gonna work? Where are all these hairy people gonna find jobs, you know? And they're at, and it's the same question. They're like, what do you feel like tonight? It's like the same thing. So, they're doing great. Those people are all doing great. Oh, you guys are fun. This is a fun. I fucking love Melrose. I really do. It's like the best kept secret, you know? Every time I'm here, it's a low-key awesome town you guys are hiding away in here. I live in Walpole now, which feels like it's just trying to be Melrose. But I lived in Southie for like 15 years. Yeah, miss it. Don't you always miss something, you know? I don't miss the Stop and Shop I used to go to in Southie. Hard dudes working at the deli. You know, Walpole, Stop and Shop, they're soft back there, but in Southie, those dudes, they had like ankle bracelets on, like the parole ones, you know, covered in blood. I'm like, who knows where it's from, you know? And they didn't like me. That's what I used to. I mean, I'm a pretty brave person in a lot of ways. I love doing this. There's people afraid of this. I love doing it. I'm like not afraid of a lot, but I used to be so afraid of those deli guys. Because they were mean to me. They would be nice to everyone else, especially like old women. They like this old lady, Mrs. McGonigal, was in front of me, and they were like, Mrs. McGonigal, what do you want today? You know? She's like, oh, nothing. You know, I just a half pound, quarter pound of turkey if you have it. Oh, a quarter pound of course, Mrs. McGonigal, I gotta put it right here. I already had it ready. And she's like, oh, thank you, Johnny. You know, and she's off. But I'm like, yeah, I'm next. And he's like, yeah, 1 fucking second, 1 second. You know? Sorry. It got to the point where I'm like really nerved up. I'm like rehearsing it the whole time I'm waiting and like waiting for my number to be called. I'm just standing there going like quarter pound bologna, quarter pound bologna, quarter pound bologna. Quarter pound bologna, just look the guy in the eye and say it, just look at me and say it. Say quarter pound bologna. Yeah, that's what I do, you know. I'm sitting there doing this, waiting for my number. I go, quarter pound of bologna. And the guy goes, yeah, what do you have, buddy? And I'm like, quarter pound of bologna. He goes, quarter pound, why don't you just get a half pound? I was like, yeah, of course. I love half pound. What a fucking idiot I am. I'm sorry. It's a, you're the pro. I should have asked. I don't know. He looks at me like, you're weird, This is how I really know they don't like me. This is like the big test. They don't do this to people they like, especially grown men. You want to try a slice, buddy? Hey. Hey, bud, you want to try a slice of this? You want to eat this piece of bologna? I know you do, you little bitch. You want to eat this? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, I do. I want that bologna right now. Also, Doc, I smoke weed, I want that shit. So then I gotta do it. I gotta eat this bologna out of another guy's hand while I maintain eye contact with him. It's like wine tasting, You're like, that's very nice. Is that a boar's head? Wow. So I'm not kidding, man. I got so nerved up doing this that I started to choke on the bologna to death. Like really choking. Like, I don't know if you've ever choked in public, but it disgusts people, okay? Like he's choking right now. He's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I don't freak anybody out. He's a camera guy. Shit, don't mess with that. He's gonna make my head look 14 times bigger now. But it's true, man. I started to choke. I was like, because we've all like choked a little bit at home, right? Like on our own saliva. You know that move? You don't know that? You know that was wrong too? That's never happened to you? You're denying the existence of this event? That was funny. You're like, not only did it not happen to me, it's never happened before. Have you ever heard someone say it went down the wrong tube? That's one of my favorite medical terms that people use. Like the surgeon's gonna go like, the problem is, it's the wrong tube. We just need to find the right one. She'll be okay. But it's like that, right? Death kind of walks through the room for a second. He's like, not today, but one day. That's what it's gonna feel like. It wasn't like that. It was worse than that. It was nothing would happen. I couldn't make a sound. I couldn't get her in. I couldn't get her out. It was just a fucking big piece of bologna stuck in there. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, this is how I go out? That's not a great way to die. Like, I'm gonna be the first guy to die of not fentanyl in this supermarket. Long time. I'm like the world started closing on me. And the only person I see coming to help me is Mrs. McGonagall. She's inching towards me. She whispers in my ear. She goes, I learned the Heimlich when my husband was sick. And then she does it, and it worked. I don't know if it was how I was just grossed out or if she did it really well. But that thing shot out, hit the floor. I look up. First thing I see when I look up is the deli guy looking at me like, I knew you were soft. And I was 95 years old. He was disgusted. Everyone just started walking away. I was already thinking, like, I think I just gotta go to Trader Joe's. I'm gonna have to make the drive. Mrs. McGonagall points at it. Classic, like, mean, salty lady. She could have, like, rubbed my back and been like, are you okay? But instead she goes, what is that? What is that? I was like, well, it's meat. That's what I said. Because I started to say bologna, but I was embarrassed. It was really not the most adult meat to be buying by yourself. You know? I didn't have a kid at that point. I was just a guy buying bologna for himself. Sometimes I wrap it up with cheese. Have you heard of that? It's a real thing. So I'm like, it's bologna. She goes, what is bologna? I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, is bologna a pig or is it a cow? I was like, that's amazing. I had never thought about it. I thought it was a wild hot dog. I thought they hunted hot dogs. But I lived to tell another tale, so she was great. Another thing I miss about Saudi is my neighbors. I had a bunch of wacky neighbors. This one guy I think about all the time because he had chickens in his yard, which is like totally illegal in the city. This guy had 12. I asked him why 12. He goes, that way if they all lay eggs in a day, I have a dozen. I was like, I don't think so. He's like a tech guy, so I was like, he probably knows. He probably Googled that. So. But I asked him why. He's a very rich guy. He owned his place in Saudi. He always had this new car, no wife, no kids, just like a wealthy single guy. And I asked him, I go, why'd you get into this whole egg, like chicken thing? He goes, to save money on eggs. It's gonna be expensive. It's getting expensive. This is like a year and a half ago. And at the time I was like, okay, Dave, I'll tell the wife no more omelets. See you later, right? But now he's like sitting on a pile of money, this guy. We're probably never going to talk again, though, because something happened right before I moved. I had to do a morning radio show. Those are at like 6 in the morning, you know. You have to get up at 6. I'm not like a really great morning person, you know, so I'm getting better at it now, but back then I was terrible. And I like wake up, I'm all groggy, right? Get in my car, I started, I'm backing out of my driveway on M Street, 6 in the morning, and I hear, yeah. My first thought, because I'm a city person, was what notification is a chicken clocking on? Can I get Chick-fil-A and pass out? What's going on? Wait a minute. I open the door and I look out, and I look down, and the first thing I see is feathers. And then I see chicken legs, like Wizard of Oz style. They were moving, so I felt bad. You know, it was an instant kill. We're proud of that, but I wasn't. I'm not a murderer. You know, I am a hit and run driver though, and I was ready to go. But I was like, there's got to be cameras, right? Everyone has a ring cam, right? So I look. Of course, Dave has one pointing right at me, and when you look at it, that's it. You gotta confess, because that's the picture they're gonna use of you on Facebook, because you looking right at it. Like, chicken killer Will Noonan. Anyone seen him? Is he at the supermarket on the floor dying? So anyway, I'm like, I gotta knock on this guy's door and tell him I killed this chicken. Oh, you're not Maureen, you're normal. Were you over there a minute ago? No. Oh. I thought that, this whole time I was like, why Maureen fucking ice me like that when I was talking to her? It's because I had the wrong Maureen. But you're not Maureen at all. Yeah. What's your name? Ellen? Nice to meet you. I'm Will. I'm at work right now. Have you met Nick? Nick's working too. What's up, bro? How you doing? So anyway, I killed a chicken, Ellen and Marie. I'm Will, if you forgot. I knock on this guy's door. This guy named David. Knock on his door. 6 in the morning. I'm not feeling good about it, right? Not feeling great about it. I'm thinking it's gonna wake him up, he's gonna be mad. He answers the door quick. I see him moving in there quick. He answers the door, he's in his boxers, you know, he's frying a dozen eggs. He's like, Will, what's going on? You're up early. Is everything all right? I go, no, Dave, everything's not all right. You see that pile of raw chicken in the driveway? I think that's one of yours. Just doesn't look like the wild chickens I see all over the city. He goes, yeah. This is what he said. He looks at the chicken, he looks at me, he goes, yeah, that's Kevin Spacey. So I'm like, Kevin Spacey? Like the actor Kevin Spacey? He goes, yes, Will, I named all my chickens after people who've been accused of sexual assault. That way I don't feel so bad about enslaving them for the rest. I go, didn't Kevin Spacey have a drinking problem? He goes, I hear that he struggles with alcohol. I was like, well, he looks pretty smashed right now. He didn't laugh at all. So, then I was like, what do I owe you for this, Dave? Like, what do I owe you for this chicken, man? I feel terrible. And he looks at me and he goes, give me $2, it's fine. $2. I was like, well, what? He goes, yeah. I get him his baby chicks. I get 2 of them for $4. He only killed 1. Give me $2. Call it a day. I was like, chicken tenders are $7. What is happening with this upcharge? Like, oh my God, we gotta be buying these things. Like, we're smoking. Buy a couple chickens every day, you know what I mean? Hang out, even if you don't want them. You're like, enjoy Melrose. Build a nest in the fells or something, I don't know. Long story short, he didn't have change for a 20, so spent the whole morning over there killing chickens. I started with Diddy. He was the first one I got. Diddy, and then Harvey Weinstein, comedian. Bill Cosby is hard to catch, though. Anyway, I was talking about the weed thing earlier. It's just shocking to me every year weed is legalized. Who's trying it? You know, because my dad tried. My dad's 78. He was a Boston cop for 30 years, and he called me up, and he still talks like a cop, like you never lose the cop voice. He's like, Bill, it's follow. Are you in possession of marijuana right now? I was like, yeah, 10-4, Cappy, I got eyes on something. What are you thinking of? Right, he's like, roll a joint, bring it over. I want to smoke. I was like, I was shocked, dude. He used to flush my weed down the toilet in high school like we were on a flight to Turkey or something. I'm like, Dad, you really? I go, you were a cop for 30 years. He goes, so? I go, you were a dare officer for like most of those years. He goes, so what? It's legal now. McGruff doesn't give a shit. Roll the joint, bring it over. So that's what I did. Roll the joint. Biggest one I could. Maybe too big. So I bring it over. I mean, I say too big because it was, like when I lit it, just the amount of smoke was insane. I smoked a lot of weed, this was a lot, you know? I was like, there's a Native American guy 7 miles away, like, what is this guy trying to say? Nah, smoking with father, right? So, we're smoking, you know, and I can tell my dad's like high, you know, because he just starts saying weird things. My dad loves to tell me, like, it was just something he's just thought his whole life and never said. That's one of his favorite moves. He looks at me and goes, you know, your brother, he's the gay brother. But you look gayer. Just, you know, I was just sitting there minding my business. That's how you become a comedian. You're always on ready for something like that. And I was like, what? And he goes, I go, how? I'm like, how? How do I look gayer than him? You know, just your face. He didn't have to think about it for a second. I go, is this something you just thought of now? Is this the weed? He goes, oh no. Me and Mom have been saying it since you guys were kids. That's why it's funny. He goes, don't get upset. I was like, I'm not upset. In fact, I really deep down, I was not upset at all. In fact, I was the opposite of upset. I was psyched because I knew I was having dinner with my brother and his boyfriend in like 2 days. And I never have like good stories for those guys. They have good stories, you know? Gay guys have awesome stories. Like, I'll tell them, you know, they'll go, oh, I was at the Knights of Columbus. That shit was lit. Like, Brian Donovan was there, and I was hammered, it was crazy. And they'll be like, cool, I snorted coke off Anderson Cooper's dick last night. That's all. Maybe Cohen was there, you know. There were horses. You're like, all right. And I was like, now I got one. I got a bomb to drop, right? So I'm sitting there. I wait for the first round of drinks to go by. I go, do you know what Dad said to me? You won't believe it. You know what Dad said to me? He said I had a gay face. My brother's boyfriend goes, I literally say that about you all the time. My brother's laughing. He's like, he said it in the car on the way here, you know? So in my mind, I'm like, man, this is like illuminating news. Everything is making sense, you know? Because growing up, me and my brother, we'd always go to Fenway, and sometimes my brother would bring a guy, and he'd be like making out with the guy, and like the homeless guys would run up to me and be like, you queer! You know what I mean? And I was like, it's him, you know? Always with the homeless guys yelling stuff at me. I thought it was just the way I skipped. Turns out it's my face. I was the one putting it out there, you know. So this is true. This is a true story. It's the craziest thing I was using an ATM one time in the city. This homeless guy comes up. It's like kind of Boston, sea captain-y looking homeless guy. His long white hair, long white beard, soaking wet, hadn't rained in 4 days. That makes me laugh every time. But he looked at me, and I knew he was going to say something homophobic. I just knew somehow. And what he said, I've never heard before or since. He goes, "There were no gays on the Mayflower." I was like, just because you sleep on the Freedom Trail, that doesn't make you a history buff. What did you call it that? So let's get out of here. I'm trying to get away. He said he's following me. He goes, "There were no gays on the Mayflower." I said, "But it's 2025, okay? A lot of shit went down out there." It was like a 6-month journey to a year, you know? Don't be a Puritan about this, right? This dude reaches out, grabs me by my shirt. He's got his finger in my face. He goes, "There were no gays on the Mayflower." I said, "Dude, stop. Don't be an ignorant prick. Who do you think came up with the name the Mayflower?" It's the greatest name for a boat I've ever heard. And then we kissed for like 45 minutes. That was our time. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Julie, for having me here. Thank you, Julie, again. And thank you, Rick, too.
This is our third evening. Our third evening in the Julie Nolan Comedy Residency here at the Melrose Knights of Columbus Bar. So we can give it up for that. She has been chipping away at this so-called, self-proclaimed midlife crisis for the last 10 years, folks. Let's put our hands together for Julie Nolan, everybody.
Difficulty tonight, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Mr. Nolan, my crew member, is in Tampa. Dare me. Here's the thing about my husband and his travel. I don't really listen and don't somewhat care where he's going. And so through the years, I'll mention that, you know, old friends traveling, and people are like, "Oh, where is he?" And I'm like, and I'll say something like New York, because I'm making it up. People know and people will be like, "Oh, what part?" And then so I learned. I said, "You know what? I just say Atlanta. No one gives a shit about it. No, I never get a question. I'm good to go." I actually said to my friend Stephanie yesterday that he was in Atlanta. And it's Tampa. It sounds alike. I think I should get some credit for that. Oh my goodness gracious. And Howie, Sylvester, and Jane helped me with the camera. Thank you very much. Alex helped me. Thank you very much. Takes a village. So the other day I was coming out of my house on Argyle Street, and I saw a cruiser. And I thought, geez, it's been a long time since I've seen a cruiser on Argyle Street. Starts to slow down. Rolls down the window. "Do you live here?" "Yeah, I do." Well, we got a very interesting complaint from the street, the house behind you. Could it be possible that someone is peeing out the window? Well, I mean, the short answer is yes. The question is who? Is it Frankie? Is it Danny? Is it Fran? So I explained myself and said, you know, I have a son with autism, and that was a behavior he had that I didn't know. he was bringing back. I said, I'll handle it. So I take the high road, and I walk over to the neighbor, in a proud mother moment. Hi, I'm Julie Nolan. Yes, that is my son that's peeing out his window. Nice to meet you. They've been living there for 2 years, and they just call the police. It's like, really? You couldn't just, whatever. So anyway, I have been taking acting lessons. And what that has allowed me to do is to cry on demand. So when I opened up and said, yep, that's my son, and da-da-da, he said, I can't imagine. And I gotta be honest with you, I hate that expression. I can imagine. I can imagine being Elton John. I can imagine being in Wicked. I don't know. I have a good imagination. So don't say that to me. Because it really is a dismissal. I'm just dismissing it. So I go with this whole bullshit. No, you can't. I'm walking down the street, killing myself. What an idiot. The guy's an idiot. But here's what he said, which was really fascinating. He said, yeah, my wife is afraid to go in the backyard. Wait, hold on. Are you suggesting that my son can pee out his window over my backyard, your 6-foot fence, and hit her? People, that's a gift. That's sure talent. That's just, I need to capitalize on this. So I got thinking, wouldn't it be great if it was an Olympic event? You take a street with like Victorian homes, you put them all in the attic, you have a Dixie cup of crap. You can see I've done a lot of thinking about this. I'm a little embarrassed now that all these details are coming. But anyway, yeah, you can have the Dixie cup across the street. And in that way, in that scenario, I'd be like, drink more water. Get up there. Come on. We get a competition. You're good at this. You're a gift. My 2 boys, I mean, I call them the indoor cats. They're just, they're just doing their thing. But when they were little, we had an awful lot of discussions about pants. Keeping them on, putting them on, taking your hands out of your pants. We have a magnet on the fridge that says, home is where the pants aren't. And it was always my kids. Like, I would say to myself, doesn't anybody else do this kind of stuff? So I was at the Sawyer's pool, and I'm talking to somebody, and I hear the lifeguard with the boy in the orange bathing suit. Please put it back on. Another proud moment. That would be it. That's mine. Yeah, there it is. My son Frankie described me to a teacher that he bumped into in Target. He goes, this is my mom. She's well into her 70s. She's not a real blonde. He's got me there. This isn't real either. So, but the best part was, he left the best for last. She drinks Pinot Grigio religiously. Well, it's nice to meet you, sir. One time Frankie saw fake eyelashes and a fake piece of hair on the kitchen table. He goes, fake hair and fake eyelashes, Mom? If that's your real name. Frankie's so little. One year for Christmas, he got a rocking horse, and we were so excited. He was 3, and we said, Frankie, look at this. Look what Santa brought you. He brought you a horse. And he comes down, and he didn't talk much then. And he comes down, he's looking at us. And he's looking at the horse. Every angle of the horse, and then looking back at us. And if I could put words in, it was, this is hunk plastic. Do you really think this is a horse? If you think that, what else do you think? Like, are you morons? Like, should I take the baby brother and hit it? Like, oh my goodness. So I grew up here in Melrose. And I am the youngest of 6 children, Irish Catholic. Let me explain what that means, if you don't know. It means that everything is wrapped around what mass you're going to on the weekend. Are we going to the 4? Are we going to the 7:30? I mean, it was like a big discussion. So, for whatever reason, well actually I do know why, my parents loved the 4 because that wasn't available to them when they were kids. So they don't want to get up on Sunday morning, they want to go Saturday afternoon. That's great for them. Not so good for me. I'm 10. My mother's like, don't get dirty, we're going to the 4. I'm like 1 bite into my sandwich. It's noon. I go up the street to Phillips Road, and everybody's playing kickball and stuff. And I'm just sitting, and my friend said, why aren't you playing kickball? And I said, I can't. Why not? I'm going to the 4. Julie, that's like 3.5 hours from me. I know, Mensa. I'm fully aware that my whole day is ruined because my parents picked the 4. I blame my anxiety and some of my booze issues on being Catholic. I don't think a child, thank you. I don't think a child should scream, crucify him. Horrifying. The nun was like, did you realize that nail goes all the way through his hand? I said, did you realize I'm 8? Jesus. Oh, so, so growing up, my mom, she was fierce. This woman, I mean, she was not fooling around. So, in the morning, she would give us a glass of milk, a glass of orange juice, and a glass of prune juice. Try and throw that back and not throw up on your way to school. I mean, that woman wasn't going to have you miss a bowel movement on her watch. You were going to be ready, let me tell you. I came home from college one time and, I'm telling her all about parties and boys and, nothing about school. Whatever. And then she's listening and she goes, and the plumbing? How is the plumbing? Oh my God! She said, it's important. Very important. So she was a fix-it type person. So my sister and I were upset. We were in the kitchen. And she goes, what's going on, girls? And we said, well, we didn't make the bus list. And we lived further than a lot of other people. So it didn't make any sense. But anyway, my mother goes, what do those bus passes look like? And we're like, uh-oh. So we explained it to her. They were actually yellow buttons that said school bus. She runs up the stairs, she runs down, she's got poster board, she's cutting out the circles, she's coloring, she writes school bus, she gets some glue and a safety pin, sticks it on our sweaters, go to the bus stop. So my sister and I are walking, my sister's really smart, I always listen to her. She goes, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, we shouldn't be standing together, because we're going to bring some attention to this unauthorized, illegal bus pass. Okay, so put a couple of people with the real ones in between us. And we got on it. So we were like, hey, this is pretty good. We go to recess, and seeing as it's not a button, it was paper, and it rains. We now have these greeny yellow thingamajigs. And so we try to get on the bus. The bus driver goes, oh, I don't think so, girls. Oh, by the way, I caught them this morning. I knew those were doing Anyway, in continuing my mother's fix-it situation, my son Frankie was recommending for him to have a weighted vest. And so I told my mother, it's supposed to calm me down or whatever. Again, my mother knows nothing about PT or OT or anything. She runs to the basement, she gets my brother's wool sweater vest from like 1968. She finds some weights, just takes some tape and tapes it. I don't know how many weights, I don't even know, and I let her. This is the thing, this is what I look back and go, what's wrong with me? But anyway, she puts it on. He does better. We have a family party. He does well. And so I was like, wow, that kind of works. I can't wait to tell the OTA person, So I come in and I'm like, hey, listen, we did that weighted vesting and it really, really worked out well. And she said, really? Because I didn't even send you the links to the website for the vest that you were supposed to order. So she said, oh, so you did 10 minutes on and 10 minutes off? He's still wearing it. The party was Saturday, this was Tuesday. I had it under his pajamas. I mean, I was like, this is a miracle. The other thing that my mother came up with, again, trying to solve everything. She goes, you know what I think it is, Jimmy? You know why the kids love McDonald's so much? It's because the burgers are individually wrapped. No, it's because it's delicious. Like when I started writing this joke years ago, I was like, I have to stop and go to McDonald's right now. Like I can't even get through this. But anyway, so we come home from Family Swim. This is how old I am. Family Swim? Who does that anymore? Anyway, we're sitting there, and my mother's like giddy. She's looking at all of us. We've got burgers that are nothing like McDonald's. They're like this thick. But she's got the wax paper. She's individually wrapped them. She thinks she has really knocked us out of the ballpark. And when did that happen to wax paper? Do people use that? I don't seem to see it. It's like the last time I saw it was wrapped around a burger that was nothing like McDonald's. What are you gonna do? So that was another attempt at perfecting things, completely off base. I'll give you the last one on my mother, and then we're going to move on to some really craziness. Get ready. So one day, my father came running in, and he said, Barbara, there is a hole in the roof of our garage. And he was mad. And my mother said, and when my mother would get mad, she would get what we called nose flare. Like her nose would just, oh, you want that? Whoa, like as siblings, we'd be like, she's mad, how mad? Like nose flare mad, or what are we dealing with? So anyway, she's got the nose going, and she looks at my father and she says, if that mother raccoon needed to get to her babies, and she chewed through asphalt, well, that's what you're gonna do. And I sat there thinking, she's Team Raccoon. She's like, this was her husband, she's looking at him like, so that went over well. I actually had visions of my mother becoming friends with the mother raccoon. Because they have a lot of fun. They got the 6 kids, right? So then maybe they have coffee. I'm picturing having coffee, but I'm picturing the raccoon being a little sassy, or like maybe with a cigarette or something. You're like, how's your crew? Something wrong with me. But anyway, the story that I want to tell, because there's so many fun people here tonight that I'm going to be, I'm not going to make fun, I'm just going to point you out. We'll see how that goes. So years ago, 1,000 years ago, I worked for Sports Radio WEI. Super fun job. Made peanuts. Because as I've said before, I've always wanted to be famous. This has been going on since I was like 5. I saw Shirley Temple and I was like, oh, okay, how do I get there? What's the road to that? So I thought this was a good start, the EEI job. And I started as a sales assistant, then I moved into marketing. And this particular time, my boss said, listen, this event is yours. It's your baby. I'm not going to do anything. You're going to work with the client. You're going to work with, the winner, because it was, again, showing my age, 9X. Star of the year. I'm just picturing my son going, Dynex? What is that? Is it like a cream? What is it? Anyway, so I took it seriously, and I went to Newbury Street and got, so basically what it was the 7th Player Award, the Bruins, and they did a matching, whatever the hockey player got as a gift, someone who entered at an INEX store would get the exact same thing. So it was like a crystal bowl and money and whatever. So I'm so serious about this. Like, I don't think I've ever been this focused in my life. So I make like $19,000 a year, and I'm in a $500 suit. You do the math. Obviously living at home. Do the math. But anyway, so the night comes. I'm just like, okay, here it is. And I say to my boss, should I try to get a picture? And she goes, hey, if you can get out there, do it. So, we're at the garden, and there's hockey players, and, I can't remember, Bob Wilson and Johnny Cusick. And so when she said, if you can get between them, do it. And so I was like, I'm not gonna go. Like, I knew them, but I wasn't gonna be like, excuse me, this is my big project. Could you know what I mean? Like, who gives a shit about it? So I go, I'm just gonna dip a little to the side and just kind of put like one foot on the ice, put the other on the rug. It's all gonna be good. I'm upside down, literally like looking at 12,000 people. What is happening? So I'm now on the ice. I have, my camera is on the ice in pieces. I'm wearing a wraparound skirt with control top pantyhose, which 12,000 people can see. So I'm feeling good. I mean, this is exactly how I wanted this to work out. Yeah. But the thing was, I was stuck because of the skirt. Like, how am I gonna get up? I have no game plan. So I just stayed there, and the announcer went, well, it looks like she's got a plan. I'm like, fuck you, I got a plan. Are you crazy? I'm like, I'm gonna be unemployed. This is terrible. So anyway, someone helps me out. And you can see, like, if you see, it's videoed, and you can see people, like, trying to be polite that are kind of close to me, but they really can't keep it in. You know what I mean? They're, like, trying to be like, that idiot. So anyway, so now I'm up, I'm down, I'm just like mortified, and I take a cab back with my boss, and she was an interesting cat, right, Howie? Yeah, okay. So I said to her, you don't think anything's gonna be done about that, do you? Like, you don't think it's gonna be a cover? She goes, oh no. Are you kidding me? The next day, the receptionist hated me because all lines were lit up. Can we talk to the girl from Disney on Ice? Can we? Yeah. And then finally, they were all fake, mean. But then the Boston Herald called me, and I didn't know it was real or not. And they said, can we talk to you? And I said, well, I don't know. He goes, no, you didn't murder someone, you just fell, who cares? So I'm like, okay, so I give a little interview. And that was a Thursday, that was a Friday, so it came out on Saturday. I lived at home still, with the expensive clothes, and my father went down to Bob's Market, and Bob of Bob's Market was still alive at the time. And my father walks in, and he's gonna buy a Herald just to see what the hell this is all about. And Bob says, I was wondering what Julie was up to. It is the second you open the Herald, and there it is. There I am, flat as a pancake. Control top, you can see the line. There's no hiding that. Yeah, it was a good moment. So I'm picturing like, okay, so we live in my basement in like a hooded like, what am I gonna do? So I go back to work, and Howie, who's here tonight, gives me a crash helmet for future faults. I love the Robin Hood. You know that's right. So here's the deal. The person who ran the station lived in New York. So he was not in Boston when, all that went down. And so I had to go in to his office and explain myself with the paper. I was like, oh, this is, okay, all right, So anyway, so I go in and I sit down and I said, I was trying so hard. I ask anybody, he goes, Julie, I'm gonna stop you right there. WEI hasn't been on page 2 of the Herald in years.